Hi, hello, and welcome back to the 1983 National Football League Draft.
And with the first round pick,
John Elway, Jim Kelly.
Welcome back to the
Draft.
And with the first round pick,
Dan Marino and Rudolph.
NFL Draft. And with the first round pick,
Deion Sanders.
I was kind of scared. I thought Detroit was going to take me. I would ask for so much money that I had to put me on layaway.
Welcome back to the
NFL Draft.
Good young players with the transfer back. Year in and year out.
Welcome back to the
Draft.
Wide receivers, running back.
Tackle, quarterback.
Every year in the draft.
There has been a trade. Ricky Williams.
On a shady Sunday.
welcome back to the
Draft.
Defensive line. Wide receiver, running back.
Tackle, quarterback.
That's all I'll get into that.
Prime time looks like you're wearing your signing bonus.
No more sales.
Welcome back to the
NFL Draft. And with the first round pick,
Eric Dickerson.
Reggie Bush.
welcome back to the
Draft.
And with the
Prime time.
pick, Keyshawn Johnson.
Are we ready?
And with the first round pick, Randy Moss.
I'm a pig now. I'm a Viking now.
And with the first round pick,
What do they take, Mel?
The legend of Josh Rosen in full bloom.
He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes.
Looks down that gun barrel, makes great throw.
Denzel Ward. You got barbecue back there. Woo! What a hit.
Bradley Chubb is an elite pass rusher.
Mayfield winds up down the field. Hollywood. Who is this kid? The Wizard.
He sprints on the practice field,
Look at this freshman.
flying under the radar, but he can spin it.
I think it's a typical Colt move.
Oh, what a catch. Barkley with a burst. Barkley down the sideline. Saquon Barkley.
That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
Well, it's the end of March, but there's no off-season for Vikings safety Anthony Harris, who joins us now. Okay, Ann, I've been trying my best to keep tabs on you via Instagram. Where are you at today? Bangkok, Miami, Virginia? Where are you at?
Right now I'm down in my hometown, Richmond, Virginia. Not quite in Bangkok, anywhere like that right now. Just enjoying some good time back home.
Absolutely. Well, I know you're working hard. We see you every day lifting weights, getting your workout in. But, at the same time, you got to regroup both mentally and physically right now during the quote-unquote off-season. Now would be the time. So how do you find the balance of keeping your body in top shape, but also trying to at least mentally quiet your mind and relax a little bit, keep fresh before the 2019 season's underway? We know OTAs and training camps just right around the corner.
Oh yeah. You got to find a way to get that balance. And I think knowing how to handle the off season, it comes with a bit of time. It comes with a little bit of experience. So, going into my fifth off season, I believe it is.
Wow.
I've just adjusted, and kind of, it's been a little bit different depending on how the season has went. But for the most part, I've learned that, you can't rush back into it. We talk about the off season, and you look at the time that you spend training on your own. It's a good amount of time, but once we get back and we're in the group setting, we're still in the weight room just as much as we are on the field. So that's still time where you can get some gains as far as in the weight room and your physical ability. So I try to take a little bit of time off and make sure, I'm working during time right now, and I'm hitting my individual goals and trying to reach things as an individual player right now. But mentally, you got to save a little bit in the tank for when you go back, because it's just going to be a continued process of getting your body where it needs to be at the peak time and where you want to be there, and make sure that time is right.
No doubt. It seems like these off seasons in the NFL get shorter and shorter every year. Off the practice field, I see you recovering quite a bit with this cryo. It seems like the Vikings themselves have started to implement it with the recovery for you guys. What is it, just in a nutshell, and how has it been working for you and your body so far?
Yeah, cryotherapy, I've been using it for 2 years now. I've been involved myself on the business aspect, and owning the spot. But I've been using it for 2 years now. It's helped a lot with my recovery. What it does is, you have nitrogen up in Minnesota in the facility. They use theirs is electric. So, but the concept is, you're dropping the body's temperature down, the internal temperature down to low temperatures where the body essentially tries to heat itself up. And heating itself up, it burns calories, and tries to get that energy to heat itself up while using, blood circulation. So how that helps with recovery is, you get an injury or you put yourself through a tough workout. You've broken down that tissue and that muscle fiber, and you've got some inflammation in those joints, whether it's ankles, backs, or whatever. But that blood circulation, it flushes all that out. It flushes new blood into those muscles, into that fiber to help it recover faster for the next day. And as far as those joints, that blood circulation, it helps with mobility and pulling out that inflammation in your body. So it really helps speed up the recovery process and get your body going.
So how cold does that actually get? I seen Eric Sugarman do a little piece at TCO. I think it was last offseason with the NFL Network. That doesn't look warm in there at all. I mean, does it? How far are these temperatures dropping for you guys, and how long? I mean, realistically, can you gut it out in there?
Yeah, the unit in the facility, is such more, sophisticated, very unique, and very sensitive. Mm-hmm. That specific unit can they track your body temperature before you go in, and then track your body temperature once you get out. And then that's how, for each individual, it can be tailored to how long specifically you need to, stay in there in the unit to get your body to that temperature where, it's starting the recovery process. And ideally, you don't have to worry about being in there for too long. At my boutique storefront, the cycles, they run in between, 2.5 minutes per individual.
Wow. From owners Mark and Ziggy Wilf to GM Rick Spielman to your head coach, it seems like the Vikings organization seems to prioritize giving back to the community. And I know, Anthony, this is something that you've been very active with as well, with the group and foundation One Love. How does One Love help others, and why was it something that you knew you wanted to invest your time into?
Yeah, One Love is it's a foundation, which goal is to help inform and target mainly the youth and inform them about healthy and unhealthy relationships. As an individual, I specifically got tied in. The foundation started back in 2011 when I attended the university, where a young lady life was taken. She was a student athlete. Her boyfriend was a student athlete. And essentially she was in an unhealthy relationship, and continued to escalate to the point where her life was taken. So that foundation was started then. So once first hearing about it, and just on that topic in general, I just believe that, you should treat one another, how you want someone else to treat, like, your mother, your sister, or even, your father. We all should, treat each other with kindness in our hearts. So I just wanted to try to help raise awareness for that, because that's something that I experienced as an individual. I want to be in a healthy relationship. I want to be a healthy partner for whoever I'm in a relationship with, and so on for my sibling and my future kids. I want them to be with somebody who treats them with the right amount of respect and love. So I just feel like if I can help use my platform to shed some light on that organization and that specific cause, then that's something that I definitely want to partake in.
Well, I know you've invested a lot of your own time off the field into that foundation, and at the end here, we'll definitely get a little bit more information so people listening at home can inquire about them back at home and do their part as well. Really, really great stuff on your end. Again, that's the One Love Foundation. I had my eyes all over you your junior season when you led the nation in interceptions with 8. at Virginia. You know, we see a lot of juniors now, Anthony, coming out early, declaring for the draft. So let me ask you, how hard was it staying back in school with your stock, obviously pretty high after leading the nation with 8 interceptions after such a great junior season? And just talk us through kind of what was the going through your mind making that probably tough decision.
Yeah, it's tough. You come on, you have a really good junior year, and you're eligible to enter the draft. It's a tough decision. It's like, do you stay? Do you feel like there's something that you can improve on and continue to get better? The career for the NFL is so short that guys want to get in there and try to maximize and get as many years in as they can. So you come out, you have a junior year. Those are some things that you try to take into consideration. Have you shown enough to the scouts that if you do decide to come out as a junior, that it's going to be worth it? Is it something where you need to come back and showcase more and potentially raise your stock? So those are the type of things that you have to try to weigh in and try to make a decision on. And for me, it was tough. I had 8 interceptions, led the country. But that's for any individual, unless you've had a father or a family member be in that position and go through that process, you're not quite sure which direction to go. So for me, it was just about, I want to come back, finish up with my education. And as much as I thought, my game, was a pretty good all around complete game. I decided I wanted to come back and continue to try to uphold my honor of coming to a program that was trying to do some rebuilding. And I felt like coming back as senior leadership, it was something where I wanted to try to leave a legacy of I came into the program and I left it in better status than when I came in.
No doubt, great mindset there, and I got to assume because some of these kids take some heat when they skip these bowl games because they're already preparing for the combine, things like that. But clearly, again, it seems like your mindset was team first, and I got to think you come back with over 100 tackles your senior year. You finish strong. You go to the combine. I know you were hurt, but you still attended. What was that kind of pre-draft process like? Was there still some teams you were able to talk to? Were you and the teams able to take any kind of positives away from that experience, that whole combine experience for you?
Yeah, it was tough. Coming off of, my senior year, I had a very good productive season tackling-wise, had high numbers. As far as interceptions, it's hard to come off of a year and where you're going to top, 8
right.
interceptions. So, had a dip there, but going into that process and not being able to do all the physical activities as a competitor, that really is what hurt the most. Any questions that scouts have as far as physical ability, you can't answer those. When you're not able to do the 40, when you're not able to do any of the testing stuff, it's really on them to make a decision on what they've seen as far as athletic ability on tape. So going through that process, it was just all about, just staying positive, not getting down on myself because, the lack of me being able to go out and perform due to injury. So what I could do is just, try to show them a little bit of my knowledge of the game and what I could bring to the table from a mental aspect. A lot of times we look into the physical abilities, but at the end of the day, we forget that once you hit that next level, there's a certain level of jump that you'd see in the mental aspect of the game, how fast things develop, how complex some of the offensive and defensive playbooks can be. So it's not just about how fast can you run and how fast can you jump. You still have to take, the concepts from football and do all those things at a high level.
I'm curious, how much you still keep tabs on the old Virginia squad because, again, this is the Draft Rap. We talk a lot of draft here. Mentioning combine, there is a kid who's trying to fill your shoes at Virginia as a safety. Juan Thornhill ripped up the combine, runs the 4.42, 44-inch vert. He's screaming up the mock draft boards right now. Were you able to watch him at all? And just from his game, if so, do you think he's a good shot of being a starting safety in the NFL?
Yeah, Juan, he was a guy when I was at Virginia. He was coming on the recruiting visits.
Cool.
And, I've had opportunity to meet him a few times after traveling back and just keeping up. Being an hour away from the school, checking out spring practices and stuff like that. I followed his career since he's got to UVA, and I've been very impressed with what I've seen from day one. Just seeing him out there, starting off at corner. Actually, I noticed he had a lot of athletic ability. He had really good size. For his size, he had very explosive leaping ability. Running wise, he had the mechanics. I thought he had a chance to be really good. So just watching him, he has really good ball instincts. He's got really good high IQ. So as I've seen him continue to develop, I've seen him go from corner, move inside. He can play nickel. I've seen him blitz. I've seen him cover. And then watching him this past year, they kicked him back into safety, which some people might look at and they say, well, he didn't work out at corner. It's like, well,
right.
A new coaching staff comes in and you've got some other big talented guys out there at corner. They kick him in at safety where he's directing a lot more traffic, where he's communicating. He's been a very good vocal leader. And you don't see the drop-off in production. He had a ton of interceptions. He can tackle. So he has a really, really complete game. And, watching his tape and then seeing the production, the things that he was able to do at the combine, for me personally, it just wasn't a shock. It was like, this kid can play, and I think he'll have an opportunity to be really good at the next level.
Wow, damn good breakdown right there on Juan Thornhill from Virginia alum Anthony Harris, starting safety for the Minnesota Vikings. A little blurb I just read before we hopped on, he made SportsCenter as a high school basketball player due to his dunking. I know you balled out. I know you balled out a little bit back in the day, too. I'm wondering, in a one-on-one matchup when the Vikings draft him in the 3rd or 4th round, what are we going to see when you two face off? He's got that 44-inch vert, though, man. I don't know.
Yeah, he's got really good leaping ability, but I can jump myself. I can jump myself, and I pride myself on being a good defender, which, talking to him and seeing him play, he's a pretty good player as well. But I like to take myself in that matchup.
I love it. You got to be confident, man. I watched a lot of film. I sit back and I think to myself, damn, playing safety in today's NFL is now got to be one of the hardest positions to play because of the versatility you got to have, not only in terms of being able to cover the pass and then sticking your nose in there in the box and covering the run, but, in coverage specifically, I watch you guys, and you've got the big, strong guys like Rob Gronkowski up the seam, and then the next play, you got a quick, shifty slot guy like a Cooper Kupp from the Rams that are pesky and sneaky route runners. Playing safety like yourself in the NFL, would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, that's why the position, is so unique. You gotta find that balance of being a physical guy, being able to help in run support, but also having that agile ability to be back there in coverage and make plays. You hear people talk about a strong safety, a free safety, he's a box safety, or he's a center field safety. I mean, you can look at corners and they have great ability, but you don't hear them talking much about he's a box corner or he's a cover corner. I mean, they obviously have guys who do a really good job in run support as well, but the difference between a guy who can get back there and cover and be able to come down on slot receivers and a guy who's heavy in the box and taking on linemen and tight ends in the run game. It requires a lot of versatility from a physical ability and also, the mental aspect of being able to juggle the two as well.
No doubt. You talk about the mental aspect. There's a few plays specifically I want to just run by you here when I watch the film that always stick out to me when I think you, and I'm just going to rip them off. And if you remember, maybe you can help break them down and tell us maybe what sort of coverage you were at or any news or notes. But last year, the first one in New England, we don't get to travel to New England often, once every 8 years, in New England, Brady and company, midfield. It's a 3rd and 7-ish. And you've got Rob Big Boy Gronkowski running this shallow crosser. It must have been from your left to right. Brady hits him. Left hash, you immediately stop him, though, in his tracks, stop his momentum. I know it's Rob Gronkowski. It took a little bit to get the big boy down and maybe shoved him out of bounds, but you stopped him again, maybe about a yard or maybe a half yard short of the sticks. And again, I wouldn't be bringing this play up if it would anyone but Rob Gronkowski, arguably the best tight end the NFL's ever seen. You stopped him dead in his tracks, and again, on a critical 3rd down, all of a sudden the Patriots are punting. Do you remember that play? Because he could not be an easy guy to bring down.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, to congratulate, Gronkowski on a great career as he just went into retirement. But, when you're out there competing as a competitor, you're out there trying to make a name for yourself. You're out there trying to help your team be successful. And obviously, him being a really good player and one of the best at the position, you take notice of who he is and where he is on the field because he has big playability. But on that play, I was just trying to execute my coverage. I had him in coverage. They tried to do a good job of a nice little play action and slip through. And I just had to, fight over top of the linebackers and just try to beat him to the other side. And after catching the ball, it was just about, coming to meet him with nice contact. And try to stop his momentum from going, upfield. And me and him battled for, a couple of yards. As we're running lateral towards the sideline.
That's right.
I'm just trying to, keep him from turning his shoulders and getting his momentum downfield. And I was able to, tackle him short of the 1st down.
Yeah, outstanding. Again, kind of read and react. Clearly, and one of your biggest improvements from the beginning till now, 5 years in, is your strength and, again, just your tackling power, which, again, the form and technique's always been there. But, again, going from college to the pros, now we got to bring guys down like Rob Gronkowski. Hell of a job, hell of a play. Another one that always come to mind, 2017, 13-3 season, playing the LA Rams at home at the bank. Cooper Kupp springing into the end zone, and here comes Ant-Man punching the ball loose at the goal line. An absolute critical play, and one that certainly changed the outcome of the game. Rams lost all momentum, and after that, I don't think they ever scored. Vikings win 24-7. Talk us through that play. Was that just kind of a read and react play? Were you trying to punch the ball out knowing that he was likely going to score, if not?
Yeah, I just remember that play just dropping in coverage. They had a nice route. He did a good job of, selling, going outside and coming back inside on the route. And for me on that play, I was actually standing just a yard behind the 1st down marker. And he actually, after the pass, he actually made a nice move and was able to get the 1st down. But on that play, I just, tried to remain calm. And it was just all about, getting him on the ground, getting him tackled before he got in the end zone. But when going in, I saw he tried to, make a stiff arm play on Kendricks, who was coming over to help make the tackle. And I just saw opportunity to, get the ball out. They're in a position where they look like they're going to score. But if I could, force a turnover here, we can, keep them from having the next play and increase their chances of, getting in the end zone. So I go in for a nice strong punch. I feel the ball move, and then I just, from there, just go for the rip out, and the ball pops out. It's right in front of me, and I was able to recover the fumble and, turn over before they were able to get in the end zone.
Just a critical, crucial play. Again, that clearly changed the outcome of the game. I gotta ask, because it's such a prominent play for that game. Does Mike Zimmer say anything after something like that? Maybe either after the play or during the week when you guys are watching the film? Because to us on the outside, it's like, we know Zim, and we know we know he loves you guys and how much you respect Coach Zim, but he's an old school, kind of that hard ass coach. Does he give you a pat on the back a little bit, or is it one of those things as a head coach, he goes, well, way to do your job, that's what we're paying you for? One of those things.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, we get paid to go out there to make plays. And when you do it regularly, or you're used to your guys and your team performing and making plays for you, you don't necessarily forget about them, but you don't jump at every at every play that's made out there. You know, there's obviously hindsight looking in. There's some that are a little bit more impactful, or you don't see the impact until after the game's over. You know, you think, oh, okay, if they score, maybe it's a different ball game. If we don't get that fumble there. But, I mean, afterwards in the locker room, that was a great team win. A lot of guys rallied back. So I believe he did mention something about that play on the goal line. But it's one of those things where, you know, I'm just looking to help the team win. And he's just looking for players that can go out there and help us do that. So when it's something that potentially changes the outcome of a game, he acknowledges it. But it's something that we don't let linger on throughout into the next week.
I'm working backwards. We started with Gronk. We talked Cooper Kupp. My last one, it had to be your rookie year 2015, and I'll never forget it. In Arizona, I think it was the Thursday night game. It might have been your first game starting, Anthony, maybe for an injured Andrew Sandejo. You were in the box on a run play, and you locked up with future Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, who's one of the best wide receiving run blockers in the game, by the way. You know, anybody who follows the game knows how good Larry Fitz is all around. But you locked up, and you knocked him at least 5-6 yards back. The rest of the defense does the rest. They meet you in the backfield, and I think tackle David Johnson for a loss. Another, this one in center field, way deep. John Brown, it's probably a 50, 60-yard bomb, chucks it up. Here comes Anthony Harris out of nowhere, almost makes the interception, but breaks up the play. Remind me, if you remember, was that your first game starting, and kind of talk us through some of your big plays.
Yeah, that was my first game starting Thursday night. Not only starting, that was actually my first NFL game.
Wow.
Regular season. We had a lot of injuries going into that week. It was near the end of the season. So we went into that game actually with just two safeties. It was me and Robert Blanton, who was a little banged up at the time. So me and Robert Blanton went in, and we also had Terrence Newman. He was listed as the other starter as safety. We went into that game, and I just remember being really excited. First career game, first opportunity to go out there and show people like, hey, I can play. You know, when undrafted, haven't been able to play on the active roster, but you know, I've put in the time and I've studied and I've tried to get my body to where I'm ready to go out there and play at a high level. So I was just excited. But I remember, you know, that one deep pass play, just being in coverage on the left side of the field, reading the quarterback and getting a good break and seeing, you know, Xavier running strides with Brown, who's like one of the fastest guys in the league. And I just come over, I try to make the play for the interception, and I just didn't bring it in. You know, I got both hands on it, but wasn't able to hold it all the way through to fall on the ground. And people look at that play and they catch notice on, you know, the big breakup, but in my eyes, I just see a missed opportunity for an interception. So I get up, I'm a bit upset, but I'm just kind of like, that was my play. I missed it, you know. I mean, we didn't give up a play because I broke it up, but I missed the opportunity, you know, to get off the field. And surely afterwards, you know, we give up a big play. And I remember Larry Fitzgerald was running down the sideline, lead blocker for Michael Floyd.
That's right.
So I'm trying to buy time until the defense gets there, but ultimately it ends up with a big pancake block by Larry Fitzgerald. So that was like my welcome to the NFL moment. And I just remember that play, and I'm just thinking, you know, I've had a good game, and that was just about as worse as it could get. You know, getting blocked like that. But we battle. The game goes on. I believe we're down 3 points. We need to get a stop to get off the field. They're trying to run the clock out, and I get another chance to match up with Larry Fitzgerald. He comes down to block me, and I just remember, you know, just going all out. You know, I was just being aggressive, put my hands in his chest, drove my feet, was able to get him in the backfield where Johnson stopped his feet, and then guys, you know, rallied, and we got a tackle for loss, and I almost went down and had a chance to win in the end. So I had some good moments in that game. Wasn't a perfect game, but it was something, you know, definitely, you know, gave me confidence that, you know, I believe I can play in this league, and I just proved it to, you know, not only myself, but to people watching that I can play if given the opportunity.
I'm watching it right now, Anthony, and you can tell Larry Fitz is caught by surprise with just how much steam you got behind him. And you literally knock Larry Fitz into David Johnson, and then Xavier Rhodes and some other guys come in and clean up the mess. But it ends up being a 6-7 yard loss at a critical juncture. Really cool to hear you not only remember so vividly your first game, but break it down. Talking with Anthony Harris, Vikings safety, heading into the 2019 season. Can't believe this is your 5th year already, man. From when you came in as a rookie to now, what do you think's the one thing that you've personally improved on the most that you're just really proud of on the field?
I think my body's finally is caught up to my game. I feel like I've always had the coverage ability. I've always had the mindset of being an aggressive tackler and being physical. That's always been in me. I think just coming out during the draft and during college and those surgeries, my body just was banged up at the time. And it took a little time for it to just, get back to that point. So I think over the time I've gotten back to where I was in college, shortly after my first year, going into my second year. But now I've just continued to prove my weights continue to, go up and stay at a point where I'm very comfortable. My strength has continued to improve. So I feel it's about as good as I've ever felt. Talking to my trainer now in the off season, my body feels in the best shape as it's ever been. My strength levels I feel is there. My weight's where I want it to be. My flexibility has improved. So I'm just excited to get back and go into this next season.
This is the Draft Rap. We talk draft. Just as a fun little quick segment, do you mind if I read your scouting report from Lance Zierlein coming out on NFL.com?
Yeah, I like to hear that.
Okay, you ready? You ready? And by the way, Lance does a great job for NFL.com. He's one of the best in the biz. There's some outstanding strengths and great overview. We highlight, again, your 8 interceptions leading the nation, all first-team ACC. But let's just, again, for entertainment standpoint, let's just rip through some of these quote-unquote weaknesses. Here we go. Thinly built and lacking bulk to bang. Stiff, upright back pedal. Can be passive as a deep safety. This is my favorite one right here. Lacks assertive attacking demeanor against blocking wide receivers. I'll tell you what, hey, you can throw all that right in the trash because what we just talked about and what play we broke down your first start Thursday Night Football against the Cardinals. You blew up Larry Fitzgerald. And again, I think you proved everybody wrong. So kind of fun, though, and a little entertaining to go back and read some of that stuff now that, again, you've proven yourself, not only yourself, but to everybody else in the NFL.
Yeah. I mean, this is different. Different mindset when you're in college and, when you're in the NFL. Some stuff you look at and people think it's a lack of, the player wanting to do something or a lack of ability. But sometimes you're just asked to do different things. Your expectations are a bit different. You can look at one player and it's like, okay, well, he doesn't attack much out of the center of the field. But that player mindset may be, I'm the last line of defense. So I have to kind of, delay a little bit before I shoot my shot because I'm the only one that may get this guy. So, when you get to the NFL, and you're surrounded by a ton of talent, and you're asked specifically, to do your job and don't worry about, making up for someone else's, ability to not do their job. It kind of allows you to relax a little bit and just focus on yourself a little bit more.
Again, the one big it seems like knock or caveat coming out was really just you're a little lanky, you're a little undersized for the NFL. I know you can get away with a lot of that in college with your range being so good, and again your technique and the tackling in the box. But what was your weight coming out, and where are you at now? And are you trying to continue to get bigger and stronger, or do you like where you're at again, kind of 5 seasons in?
Yeah, I mean, coming out of the draft, during college, I believe at the time I was 193 or something like that, or 195, and that was was like one of my lighter weights. But at the pro day is where I think at the combine is where I think everyone, they thought that I was a little bit too skinny coming off of 2 surgeries,
right, and
not working out at all. I weighed in at 187 at the combine, and I'm just thinking to myself, I haven't lifted in months. I haven't been eating right. Once you get those surgeries, you have to take the different medications. You're not quite eating the proper meals and the nutritions and things like that. So I was very light at the combine. But since then, I believe the highest I've gotten up to is like 207. Right now I'm right around like 203. So my weight, it's come back, and I feel really good at where I'm at, and my body feels really good. So I'm really pleased with myself. But something like that, you take a look at a player and you got to take all of that stuff into consideration. It's like, where did he play at? What was his weight when he played? What's his work ethic? Is he a guy who likes to be in the weight room? Is he a guy who works hard out when he's in the weight room? And I think, if you go around and you ask, the people in the building, the type of player that I was and my commitment and desire to the game, those are questions that can be checked off, without hesitation. So it kind of shows to where I'm at now and the progress that I've made. And I'm just looking for, to continue to progress and continue to take big strides.
What's it like playing next to Harrison Smith? I mean, what makes him so good? He's not the cockiest, loudest guy in the world, but, man, silent but deadly, right? Harry the Hitman.
Yeah, Harry's he's a really good player. He's a great teammate. He's got great personality. Doesn't say a lot, but has great leadership. Knows when he needs to be heard and be vocal to guys. But it's a lot of fun. Zimmer defenses with disguises and the different blitzes. He can get really creative. And you take a guy like Harrison who has a lot of ability. And he's been in the system a while. He does a really good job of disguising and giving you different looks. So getting out there to play with him, it's been a lot of fun, getting on the same page, doing different things. It took some time to adjust because sometimes he's disguising and you're like, is he doing the right thing or what is he doing? He's confusing me. But over time, that's stuff that you get comfortable with and you get familiar, and you build that chemistry with him. It becomes fun when you guys are, you're on the same page and you're out there and you can go around and make plays.
Mike Zimmer was down in Arizona for the league meetings, the NFL and coaches and owners meetings. He was quoted yesterday after breakfast saying the Vikings defense is going to have some new looks, some new wrinkles, and it's going to look maybe a little bit different from what people have seen in the past. So I know OTAs and training camp is still a few months out, but are you ready to line up at some nickel corner now or be screaming off the edge here? Because it seems like you guys might have a little bit, a few more wrinkles in the playbook this time around.
Yeah, I'm excited. Anytime you can add different looks, pick guys in different spots, without hurting the team, it's always fun. A guy who doesn't get a chance to blitz often now gets more chances to blitz, and it should be exciting for you. So that's the stuff that I really enjoy. Getting bigger, getting faster, getting stronger. All those things, it's really joyful. But getting out there on the field and, talking X's and O's and talking schemes and disguises and technique and stuff like that, that's where things really get fun.
So it seems like, again, letting us pick your brain about pre-draft process, the combine, your Virginia days. Out of all that, though, I think I'm going to leave this conversation being really impressed with all your work for the One Love Foundation. Where can we find any type of information about the One Love program and foundation on social media or any other outlets?
Yeah, if you go to join One Love, and one that's spelled out .org. You can check out the site. Gives you more information on our causes, what we're trying to do. It also gives you some layouts of how we try to help and how we inform individuals who want to get more information. So if you just pop in over there at joinonelove.org, and also social media, they're on One Love. At One Love. there on there as well.
JoinOneLove.org. Make sure you go check that out. I'm checking out the Instagram page right now, at JoinOneLove on Instagram. Appreciate you letting us pick your brain about some of our favorite plays over your career so far. I know you're a busy guy. Try to enjoy your offseason a little bit. Get caught up, get relaxed, get fresh, and we'll talk to you at training camp. All right, man?
Sounds good.
Sounds good. That's Anthony Harris, your starting Viking safety for the 2019 season. I'm Luke Inman for the Draft Rap, draftrap.com, signing out.
The legend of Josh Rosen in full bloom.
He runs to the 50. He runs to the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes.
Looks down that gun barrel, makes great throws.
Denzel Ward. You got barbecue back there? Woo! What a hit.
Bradley Chubb is an elite pass rusher.
Mayfield winds up, down the field. Hollywood! Who is this kid? The Wizard!
He sprints on the practice field.
Look at this freshman! Flying under the radar.
But he can spin it.
I think it's a typical Colt move.
Oh, what a catch! Barkley with a burst. Barkley down the sideline. Saquon Barkley.
That was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.